Hello and welcome to 6 Steps to a Perfect Poo. My name is I'm an Intestine and her name is
I'm a large intestine.
We hope you enjoy our show on the human body.
Woo! I'm here inside the mouth, where the food is being ripped by the incisors and mushed and chewed by the molars. Saliva is also entering the mouth, and it is being churned with the food to make it nice and moist, so it goes down the gullet easily.
Planet SciCast is a project to encourage a wide range of people, mostly school children, but we branch out into families and working scientists and science communicators quite a lot because they like the project and are enthusiastic about it. We try and encourage them to make short films about practical science. So the idea is that small groups of people come together, make a short film of a demonstration or experiment, and send it into a website, which we use to collect those films as a resource for educators, mostly for teachers, but for informal educators as well, but also as a source of entertainment and inspiration for children themselves. So it's about children learning from children by making films of their own experience and expertise and skills. There are several partners to SciCast, and that could have been a problem because we might have all pulled in different directions, but it actually feels more like our pulls are more complementary. So my interest was that I used to make a lot of children's science television, which was a long tradition we had in the UK, and it felt like it was decreasingly relevant. Children are watching less and less television, and the age band we were targeting with entertainment children's TV was getting narrower and narrower, partly because they're spending more time online. So I wanted to explore the ideals of public service media, but as applied from a clean sheet of paper in 2005. How do you put inspiring ideas in front of children of the sort of 9 to 15 bracket? How do you go about doing that? And I took that concern specifically about science and engineering subjects to an organisation called NESTA, which is the National Endowment for Science, Technology and the Arts, which was founded about 10 years ago to foster the UK's capacity for creativity and is now tasked with fostering the capacity for innovation. Well, what does that mean? What it means is trying to find ways of developing the skills set that leads to a creative and innovative society. Which again, what does that mean? In the context of this, they've been doing some work about the decline in practical science in schools. And they'd got very concerned about not just the direct implication of students not being versed in the practical aspects of science, but also about what that meant in terms of creative thinking and group work in a technology context. So there was quite a close synergy there between the approach that I wanted to take and a problem that they'd identified that they wanted to help address.
Crude oil is one of the most important resources in this century. It starts with one base component: microscopic marine life. First, and most importantly, it needs to be dead.
SciCast started out with one school and one visit. We just went up to a tiny school in Scotland in the snow and tried out a few ideas. And then the next film I think we made with my nephew, who was then about 3 years old, which is still very cute. And we tried a few ideas out and we gradually grew. It's never been a big project in terms of staff resources. There are 2 people working on it half-time, something like that. But we've reached the stage where the year just gone we had 160, 170 films submitted from schools all over the country. We've got 3 or 4 partner competitions running in different areas of the country, so one in Richmond, Newcastle, North Somerset's just starting up. There are affiliated projects doing in different spaces. So Science Oxford have been doing some work, Glasgow Science Centre, the Royal Observatory in Edinburgh are doing work that's sort of affiliated with us. So it's quite hard to say exactly how big it is. We know we've got about 300 films have actually reached us from about 100, 150 schools, something of that sort. Of course, we don't know about the films that never quite reach us for whatever reason, and there'll be another bunch from there. What we're hoping to do is double in size again, which would take us up to about 500-600 films, something like that, by the end of this year. No, entry's free, but there's obviously a cost to us in processing films. That one of the things we have to be very careful about is because we're the publisher, we need to be clear that we have requisite permissions from parents, but also that we can demonstrate that the work is original. So clearance becomes an issue, and knowledge of copyright and licensing issues is a constant battle that we have. So very early on we went the Creative Commons route, which is one of those things that in 2005-06 nobody had heard of, and now it was very niche in 2005-06, and now is almost the routine solution to this sort of thing. But it still presents problems that very few schools have really connected with intellectual property in any meaningful way. So they tend to assume that it's for education use and therefore fine to use commercial music or whatever. So the first year, almost half the films we received, we had to reject because we couldn't publish them. And it's been a constant battle. We've got better at explaining what people need to do. And the schools who stay involved, which is most of them actually, the way the project has grown, we've kept most of the schools from one year to the next and then added a whole load more. The schools who stay involved learn a bit each time, so they get progressively better. And also the expectation in terms of examples that people see when they come to the site now is clearer, I think. But it's something we're still battling with.
Buckley's double-action baking powder contains an acid, cream of tartar, and a base, baking soda, which, when water is added, react in solution to form carbon dioxide bubbles, giving your cake mix that light texture.
Yes, I mean, one of the challenges we had is that I was trying to replace an industry that used to spend £1 million a year on purely science entertainment programming for children. So I made 2 series a year for one of the main broadcasters in the UK, which were science and technology based. For that, 9 to 12 age bracket, 7 to 11, 9 to 12, somewhere in there. And £1 million is an awful lot of money in STEM engagement, science communication circles. There isn't that sort of cash floating around by and large. So we were never going to produce work to the same kind of standard, but actually we couldn't get close to the same sort of volumes. So one of the things we had to do was say, look, we can either do a small amount to a high standard, or we just forget making films ourselves entirely and outsource it. We go the contributed content route, which when we started was still called user-generated content, this horrifically rude phrase about treating your collaborators and contributors as users. It's just nasty. We went that way with contributed content because it was a route to volume, but also because I think the important part of the process is making the film. Yes, it's lovely to produce the catalogue and the library of resources, but the really high quality engagement and the high, much higher quality than passively receiving broadcast TV is making a film yourself.
Thank you for watching, and remember, the perfect poo is made by you.